Maranello dared to dream big with its technical department and celebrity combo of Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton. Hopes for a title challenge were not whispered, they were expressed. Fast forward to April, and those hopes are already on the verge of collapse. After a poor first 3 races in Australia, China, and Japan, the squad arrives in Bahrain surrounded by internal turmoil rather than hope. The SF25 has underperformed, expectations have been missed, and most importantly, unity has broken down. Ferrari's 2 drivers, previously regarded as the most harmonious pairing on the grid, are now pushing in separate ways. And, faced with a faulty vehicle and rising pressure, the technical staff is divided on how to respond. Below the surface, a battle of ideas is happening within Ferrari. What's on the line? The essence of its 2025 campaign. The story of Ferrari's current predicament begins, like all Formula One stories, with the car. The SF25 was launched with the promise of unleashing new performance, based on lessons learnt from prior generations. Early wind tunnel and simulator results indicated promise. But when rubber met road in Melbourne, fissures appeared. Lewis Hamilton's brutally honest comment after qualifying in Suzuka summed it up. "We can't run at the heights we would like." That sentence got to the heart of Ferrari's difficulty. The car, which is built to function near to the ground and maximize ground effect, cannot run low without risking floor wear, due in part to Hamilton's disqualification in China for severe plank wear. As a result, Ferrari was compelled to run the SF25 approximately 3 mm higher than planned. That seemingly tiny change has disastrous aerodynamic repercussions, costing about 20 points of downforce and resulting in a loss of 3 to 4 tenths per lap compared to McLaren. At this level, it's the difference between a front-row battle and a midfield scramble. Even so, running higher hasn't completely cured Ferrari's troubles. The vehicle has an uneven balance, notably in rear stability, which Leclerc identified as early as pre-season testing. Engineers have highlighted to structural softness at the back, making the SF25 difficult to set up confidently. According to insiders, Suzuka was a weekend of awareness. A harsh realization settled over Maranello. The SF25, as it is now, is not a title challenger. The disappointment in Suzuka triggered a technical issue. Ferrari's upgrade strategy was always going to be crucial to the season's development. A revised floor, which had been in the works for a long time, was originally planned for Miami, but some wanted to move it to Bahrain. This is when the fracture lines started to deepen. Within Ferrari, 2 camps have emerged. On one side are aerodynamicists who say the new floor, which has already been constructed, provides quantifiable benefits. The simulator data has been positive, and in a normal situation, the next step would be to run it and speed development. However, technical director Loic Serra and team principal Fred Vasseur urge caution. What's their concern? That Ferrari's main troubles are caused by the car's unbalance rather than its aerodynamic performance. Introducing a new floor before resolving the issue may either negate the benefits or confuse the technical team more, making it more difficult to determine the causes of poor performance. As a result, the Thursday before the Bahrain GP is designated as a soft deadline. The crew would go over the data from Japan, determine how much of the car's constraint was aerodynamic versus mechanical, and then decide whether to implement the revised floor. A compromise may be struck by testing both floors in FP1. Lewis Hamilton is likely to drive the updated version, while reserve driver Dino Beganovic, standing in for Leclerc, will drive the original in his first practice session. A direct comparison will then guide the team's actions. However, this hesitation reflects a wider reality. Ferrari's technical hierarchy is in upheaval. With Serra juggling development of both the SF25 and Ferrari's 2026 project, there is no longer a clear path forward, and the chaos is now seeping into the driver's camp. Following Suzuka, the public noticed displeasure in Charles Leclerc's post-race comments. They didn't notice the moment that shattered Ferrari's internal harmony. Behind closed doors, Leclerc told Vasseur and the team, "Enough. I'm going my own way." Corriere dello Sport reported that this was not an emotional outburst. It was a deliberate decision. Leclerc had become bored of adhering to a technological philosophy that didn't suit his driving style, especially because Hamilton's setup needs appeared to take precedence. He announced that he would now be in charge of his own automotive development. That decision represents a significant shift. Leclerc, who was previously publicly aligned with Hamilton in terms of style and feedback, is now forging his own route. And with good reason. While Ferrari has been underperforming overall, Leclerc has routinely outpaced Hamilton in both qualifying and race conditions. At Suzuka, Leclerc stated plainly, "I had a perfect weekend. I couldn't have done more." And yet, it only earned him 4th place. He added, "I'm going to Sakhir with a very different vision of the tests. I have a very clear direction I want to take for my driving style, and I hope it pays off." Hamilton, for his part, has been more reserved, but no less vocal, in his unhappiness. "I didn't have more than that pace. I was struggling with the rear," he said after Suzuka, also noting that even with a better qualifying, Mercedes would have likely overtaken him. This rising gap is not uncommon in Formula One, but it is worrisome. Ferrari is now effectively running 2 vehicles with 2 different concepts, and this could jeopardize development efficiency at a time when the team needs to close a growing gap with McLaren, Red Bull, and perhaps Mercedes. The final element of Ferrari's dilemma is political. Lewis Hamilton, who is new to the squad, has apparently emerged as the dominant voice in technical discussions. His expertise, achievement, and stature command respect. Vasseur, who worked with Hamilton in his junior years, has relied extensively on his advice, perhaps too much in Leclerc's opinion. It's worth mentioning that Hamilton joined Ferrari with a reputation for shaping teams based on his opinions. Between 2019 and 2021, he collaborated with engineers such as Loic Serra to fine-tune dominant cars at Mercedes. At Ferrari, he hopes to do the same, although the environment is extremely different. This time, he isn't stepping into a title contender. He's entering a broken setup with unsolved faults. And now, Leclerc, who previously deferred to team structure, is pushing back. What was the result? A split in influence as well as development pathways. Hamilton has Vasseur and the technical office paying close attention. Leclerc is forging his own path, buoyed by on-track successes. Even Jacques Villeneuve said, "Ferrari is being taken over by Lewis Hamilton." It's hyperbolic, but it reflects the growing belief that Hamilton's entry has changed the internal structure, whether purposefully or not. All of this leads us to the present moment. Bahrain was once simply another race on the schedule, but today it feels like a referendum on Ferrari's 2025 season. Technically, the new floor may help. It includes modifications to the Venturi tunnels and rear extractors, as well as a new monopolon rear wing and brake system. These modifications are intended to improve load constancy, predictability, and high-speed stability, all of which are fundamental weaknesses of the SF25. However, unless the basic balancing concerns are addressed, even the best improvement will fall short. Worse, if Hamilton and Leclerc pursue different development paths, Ferrari risks producing 2 versions of the same car, dividing resources, data, and setup knowledge. Vasseur is now under pressure to unite the team, or at the very least manage internal disagreements before they escalate into a political conflict. Ferrari's objective for 2025 was to compete for championships. Instead, it is trying to remain in the top 4. The automobile is faulty, but not hopeless. The team is divided, but not yet disbanded. However, the next few races will determine if Ferrari can recover, or fall farther under the weight of its own ambitions. The keys to that recovery are in 3 essential areas. Development clarity. Will the team commit to a single upgrade path or continue to hedge its bets? Driver management. Can Vasseur balance 2 strong personalities without favoring one or alienating the other? Technical leadership. Will Loic Serra remain focused on the SF25, or will 2026 demands draw him away? Ferrari possesses the talent, it has the resources. However, it currently lacks cohesion. In Formula One, togetherness is not just a strength, but also a must. Just ask McLaren about that one. As Ferrari prepares for Bahrain and beyond, the focus shifts from performance to politics. Will Charles Leclerc's autonomous route lead to new performance, or further separate him from the team's direction? Can Lewis Hamilton's influence drive Ferrari towards stability, or will it exacerbate the division in the garage? Most importantly, can a team divided by two visions discover a single path to victory? The answers will come soon. However, one thing is clearly clear. Ferrari isn't simply competing with Red Bull and McLaren, it is racing against itself.